Here are my top 3 studio tips that I wish I had known earlier as an acrylic painter. Tip number 1, if you forget to wash your brush and it gets all hardened with acrylic paint, don't throw it out. You just need some Murphy's oil soap, and you put that in a jar, just enough to cover the bristles, maybe about 50% water as well. Throw your brush in there and leave it for a few hours. Give it a good rinse and it will be good as new, or like as good as it was before you forgot to wash it. Thankfully, I don't actually have any brushes that I've forgotten to wash at the moment, but I do have a trowel that's really hard to clean and a couple of these brayers. So I'm going to use the Murphy's on that and I will show you how it works. So obviously these tools aren't going to fit in this jar. Normally I would just take the brayer, comes off of here, and you can put that in a jar, but since I have all these things to do, I'm going to get a bigger container. Pour a bunch of that in there and some water. And I'm just going to let these sit. This one, the brayer doesn't actually come off, so I have to throw the whole thing in there. I ended up adding more Murphy's, probably about 1/4 cup total, and then enough water to submerge the tools completely. I let it sit for about 12 hours. Tip number 2 is a stay wet palette. Start with a plastic tray, lay paper towels or shop towels on top of that. Pour water on the towels till they're soaked and pour off any excess water. Then add some parchment paper, also known as baking paper, over top. Now you're ready to put down paint, and it won't dry out as quickly. If you cover it with plastic at the end of your painting session, it can last for days, especially if you keep the towel damp. Tip number 3 is extending your paint with gloss medium. I wouldn't recommend it for a student grade paint, but if you have a high quality paint that has lots of pigment in it, you can add this to it. If you want it to stay kind of the same consistency as the paint, don't add very much, but if you want it to be a bit more fluid, you can add, I've read up to 50%. It'll be a little bit more translucent, but sometimes that's what we want. First, I'll just do a little test to show you what the paint looks like straight out of the tube. Very bright, very opaque. Now I'm going to mix in, I'd say that was about 20%. And it's still quite thick. Just as vibrant, just as opaque actually. There are 2 reasons that I like to use acrylic medium. One is that I can control how fluid the paint is, and second is the cost. Prices of paint can vary depending on where you are and the brand, but just to give you an example, this paint costs 35 cents per milliliter, but the medium only costs 6 cents per milliliter. Let's really go for it. This is for sure by now 50% at least, if not more. Let's see how this looks. Yeah, so I'm starting to see that it is a little bit translucent now, but sometimes that's what you want. So by using gloss medium, it means that you can save a lot of money. It means that you can buy better quality paint and make it go way further. All right, I hope those tips were helpful, and if they were, consider subscribing to my channel so that I can share more with you in the future. Bye for now.